BowmanDigitalMedia.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GGAF World Rally. My name is Ira Bowman. I'm your host. I'm happy to be joined on stage here by some of our board of directors. Right out of the gate, I just want to say something. I did not know. I actually found out Richard DiPadilla, who is the founder of the Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation, put on a message this morning that really has kind of rocked and shocked all of us. Our CEO, Lisa Jones, was mugged, viciously attacked last night. And so I live out here in California. I slept till 7 a.m. This is probably a little bit TMI, but I slept till 7 a.m. I woke up to news that on the day of our world rally that we've been planning for well over a month, Lisa Jones, who was going to really head up the information part for the GGAF, is not here because she was beaten by 3 assailants with baseball bats. It is shocking to say the very least. So I just want to take just a moment and just pause, because it's incredible that in 2022, in one of what's supposed to be, to Richard DiPadilla's point, supposed to be one of the safest countries in the world, right? We're not as far along in the peace process as maybe people think. It's a shame. Crime happens everywhere, of course, but my thoughts and prayers certainly are with my really good friend, Lisa Jones. She's the only reason I even joined this board, was to help her out with the marketing efforts, because I really love what Richard and Lisa have been doing for all these years with the organization. And we had a vision for how to move this thing forward with a little bit of marketing assistance. So I joined. Now, I've been a member of the Global Goodwill Ambassador Foundation for several years. I think this is my going on my 5th year, if I remember correctly, but this is my first year on the board. And I joined it because I strongly agree and support the efforts that they're doing. I was excited to share. I am still excited to share what we're doing in the organization. It's just heartbreaking what's happened to Lisa. So she won't be with us today, obviously. I had no idea that that was going on. However, the show must go on. So we're here today to tell you about the Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation. Now, some of you might, just by way of introduction, some of you, I'm going to unmute the mics, guys, so you guys can join me here too. Some of you out there might know it as the GGA. When I joined, I knew Richard DPD first, and then I met Lisa Jones when I was applying to become a Global Goodwill Ambassador, and that's what it was known as. Okay, Mandy, I think we got background noise, so we got to wait till you're quiet. All right. So in the when I joined, it was known as the GGA, but it really is known as the GGAF now. So whenever you see us use the acronym, you're going to see GGAF, which is part of the reason why we're having this World Rally. We want people to know who we are. We don't want them to be confused between the GGA and the GGAF. It is one and the same. And so we just thought, let's have this rally, and let's introduce you to our board. Let's introduce you to we're a global organization. We have leaders across the globe. And so we want to introduce you to those folks as well. Nope, still got something going on in the background there, Mandy. Okay, so first and foremost, we're just going to go around the room. I'm just going to ask you who you are and what your role is. Now, these are all board members, okay? But tell us what your role is, and maybe just a couple minutes about what you are doing inside the GGAF. And then once the introductions for the board is done, then we'll give a little bit bigger presentation on what the GGAF is as a whole. So, Chrissy, let's start with you because you have an interesting role in all of this because you head up a sister organization for the GGAF or with the GGAF, but you're also a part of our advisory board. So if you could tell people who you are and what you do, that would be awesome.
Hi, thanks, Ira. And I'd also just like to send out a message to Lisa to say we're all thinking of you and we wish you a very, very speedy recovery. Just awful news. Anyway, I am Chrissy Sykes. I am founder of the My Body is My Body Foundation, which is the core education program for the GGAF. I also work very closely with Lisa on the Ambassador magazine, and I also run the Learning Institute, the GGAF Learning Institute with Lisa. We work very closely, and we trying to make a difference with, especially on my side, with child abuse prevention, getting all the people that we work with around the world with their NGOs to get their volunteers trained in the subject of child abuse prevention and to make a difference within their communities. That's our main goal on that side.
Very good. And we're going to go into a little bit deeper presentation on the My Body is My Choice later. I will share the website. If you guys can help me out. Richard, do you still not have any sound? Because I think everybody else can hear us. I just want to make sure you can hear us, brother. I mean, he founded the whole thing. Let's make sure he can hear this. And Richard, if you want to join us on stage, send me a message. I'll get you the link to join up on the show. Obviously, you're welcome to join us. But we'll be sharing my screen in a minute. I'll have the My Body is My Choice website up. I'll have
My body is my body.
yeah. I'm gonna have the GGF. Sorry guys, I have dyslexia. I know what I want to say, and sometimes my mouth says something else, which is why I'm a better host than I am a guest, I guess. But here we go. But I'll bring up the websites in a minute, and I'm gonna bring up the org chart as well. So. And again, okay, Mandy, you are back. So let me bring you back on. Here we go. If the cameras drop out, guys, I'm going to have to drop you off until you get your camera back up. All right. So, and again, let's have you go next, brother.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ira, for this wonderful section to come up with the Global Goodwill Ambassador Foundation Global Rally, which is one of its kind. So honored to be part of the board. My name is Adigunte Mitayo from Nigeria, Africa. I sit on the board as one of the global board advisor, and I'm also the vice president of project management and development for Africa. I'm so happy to be part of Global Goodwill Ambassador, and looking forward to the number of great things that we are going to do together over the next couples of 1 year that is coming. And at the same time, I also chair the Nigerian chapter, which is one of the fast-growing humanitarian network in Africa. And we are so happy for what Africa is doing, and we are so happy for what our nation is doing in Nigeria, and the commitment of our team from Nigeria, and the number of lives we have imparted in terms of humanitarian work and advocacy work. I'm so happy to be part of the board. Thank you so much for everyone watching us. We have a lot of in stock. Stay tuned and enjoy this section. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. And again, we're going to get into Nigeria in a little bit more detail in a little bit because what you guys are doing in our organization is very impressive. And we want other countries to not only rise to the occasion and join you, because look, the effort of GGAF is unique in the fact that we support a lot of different things across the whole world, but it only happens when the local people get involved, right? So if you're sitting watching this in Southern California like I am, right? And you're like, well, hey, how come we don't have as much going on in California as they've got going on over in Nigeria? And we don't. But if we feel that way, the only thing stopping us from doing that is us, right? All we have to do is get together and put in some effort, some unified effort, and we can do the same thing. So we want to talk about how you guys built that structure, how you keep it going, and get other people then to rise to the occasion. And maybe that will also push you guys forward too and go, okay, we want to keep our lead, so we got to work harder too, right? And you know who wins? The people we help across the globe. So it's a good type of competition. All right, we got Richard. Richard, it's a little bit dark. I don't know if you have a way to front light your face a little bit, but we've got more of a silhouette with the light in the back.
Okay.
And while we're
let me take care of that.
Yeah, there we go. And while you're working on that, we're going to go to D. Russell. Welcome, D. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it this morning. So it's not morning for her. She's over on the other side of the pond, as they say. But D, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you're helping on the board, that would be amazing.
Thank you, Ira. My name's Dee Russell Thomas. It's a bit of a mouthful. And at the moment, I'm in the Middle East. I've just arrived and I'm about to start work, so I'm not sure how long I can stay. I'm on the global board. I'm a VP for the professional and organizational development. And I think my claim to fame is probably that I think I may have done more courses than anybody else has done within the Learning Institute. And I'm now also running one on 12 months of kindness, which was a project that was set up in the UK. And I had the good fortune of collaborating everybody's work and putting it together as a booklet. And that was really inspiring for me and could not have been done without all of the UK team. They were wonderful. I'm a UK country lead. I'm a GGAF Director of Welfare, which is via Chrissy Sykes's program, My Body is My Body, of which I'm now also a trustee. And it's very close to me. It's very special. And I feel very privileged to be working alongside Chrissy and also alongside Lisa. That's shocking news to me. I did not know. I've been obviously on a plane for the last goodness knows how many hours, and I send my complete best wishes to her. Get well soon, Lisa, and you're sorely missed.
Yeah.
I'm a Deputy Lieutenant of Gloucestershire, an international inspector, and a director of the African Caribbean Association, which is quite unusual because you may or may not have noticed that I'm actually not of Black origin. For me, it's about working to make a difference, and it's about trying to do whatever I can to help others. But I am humbled that I'm in incredible company and there are people around me who are doing amazing things. And if I can support in any way, then I'm particularly always impressed by the work in Nigeria and all that goes on there. Phenomenal amount of work. But I have a bit of a bias towards the UK as well, as you might imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Delighted to be here, but I'm really not sure how long I can stay. I will do my best, but I've got a really early start in the morning and I'm traveling at 4 o'clock, which is not too many hours away. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Look, I wasn't sure you were going to be here at all because you gave us that heads up. So totally appreciate you making the time. Look, guys, if you're watching in the audience, and we have about 36 people with us on LinkedIn alone right now, which is really cool. We're going to do a deeper dive in just a minute on what the GGAF is and how it works. But I'm telling you, without these people to my right currently, the way I'm looking at the screen might be the opposite for you. The way I'm looking at the screen, they're all on my right. This is the heartbeat. This is the backbone of the organization, because the board comes up with the programs, comes up with the ideas, comes up with the structure, and they put effort in, and it's not paid. None of these folks are paid. So they do it because they care about people And that is the kind of people that I want to be associated with. And it's why I volunteered to join this organization's board, because it really is about the effort and the work, not about the people doing the work. As far as those of us on the board, we try to support our team members and the people who are participating. Of course we do. But for us, really the reward is just knowing that it's a job well done. So I appreciate that. I'm going to change it up just a little bit. We've got Richard on, and Richard, I can see you now. So I'm going to switch spots with you.
Oh, and thank you, Ira. And,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate you taking the lead in this. I know we were all shocked by the events that took place last night with Lisa. So, please, everybody send out your prayers to her. I could hardly even speak to her. Her jaw was so messed up this morning. So, but, together with the board, Lisa has worked extremely hard in building this, since I retired from doing a lot of work, and in particular, she was doing such a great job that I really felt it was imperative that she take the lead and have the focus on her. For many years, it had been on myself, and it really wasn't fair, because Lisa was really stepping up and taking care of so many things. So people probably can't even fathom the amount of time and energy that she puts into the organization to try to make sure that everything is spread out and done in a way that, quite frankly, I don't know any other organization that can claim that we do everything to give back and to try to reach communities. Just for a brief moment, I'm going to mention why we became a foundation, because for 10 years we were an organization, and our theory there was the organization was just bringing good people together, and when you bring good people together, good things happen. And it was a lot of introduction and trying to unite, get chapters to unite. And unlike other organizations to start from the bottom up, we wanted to wait until later on and then see how everything would further develop. Then there became a need for a lot of people reaching out to us from within the chapter for to raise some funds to help them with the events they were doing. The one thing I never really liked was the fact that there were a lot of organizations that were the well-known organizations that had such a structural base that in order to support the structure, a large percentage of monies taken in went to the structure. And that's true of the top organizations, without mentioning their names. But finding out that you hear that a certain organization has donated millions of dollars towards a country to do something. I'm not saying that money didn't go to the country. What I'm saying is all the people that I was connected to on GGAF with the Global Goodwill Ambassadors, a lot of them said, I've never seen anything from this organization. It's never reached me. It's never reached my community. Yes, they're putting money into food, but I don't know what the country is doing with it because people are starving. We don't have clean water. We don't get educated on. Our country doesn't have an educational thing on child abuse prevention. So it was pretty important for us to have an organization that was the opposite of that. I have sometimes told friends who've asked, trying to be the purest nonprofit in the world is when you take in money and you send it all out, everything. Early on, there were expenses associated with some of the, you make a wire transfer, and a wire transfer of an amount of money cost you $30 to $40, and a lot of this we were paying for. So, we felt pretty secure in saying, look, anything that the banks don't take goes directly out. Because unlike perceptions, not everybody in the U.S. is millionaires,
Right.
And Lisa and I certainly aren't, So I still feel like we were at the very, very early onset of the foundation, because we started officially announcing that we were a foundation in March 2 years ago, which, if anybody knows, that was the exact time of COVID.
Yeah.
So what followed was hysteria and lockdowns, and certainly not people looking to make donations. They were worried about their own family security, as should be. So, as we're coming out of that, I feel like we can start to really take leaps and bounds in what we can do for people in these little communities around the world. And I mean little communities, they're part of the country. A lot of them, it's the hearts of these countries that we're dealing in, including the U.S. I mean, in our
hang on a second, Richard. We're gonna get into that in just a second. We're gonna deep dive to where the GGF is now and where it's going. We're gonna do a lot of that in just a minute. I know you weren't in the show prep, so that's why I'm popping in.
Okay, no, I'm glad you did, because I was going to call Lisa this morning to get all of the
right. No, totally.
The details, and I didn't have a chance to
actually
do that. So.
And I intended on calling you this morning at 7:30 my time, a half hour before the show, to give you some prep too. But then I saw your post. I was like, oh no. So we gotta
I'm still really in a state of shock, but I appreciate you taking the lead on this, and I appreciate everybody that is here. And again, please, prayers to Lisa.
Yeah, for 100%. And I'm glad you said something there that's very interesting. And I actually didn't know, or maybe I didn't put it all together, right? So when I joined the GGA, right, it was the GGA. And so that was, for me, like when I started to see the GGAF, and Chrissy actually referenced this, we have the school, okay? So there is 3 real components of the GGAF now, right? So we're going strictly by the GGAF, which is the original GGA that Richard had just kind of told you how and why he founded it, which I'm so thankful that he did. And Richard, in case it's not clear, if everybody watching doesn't know, Richard DiPadilla, we've been friends for years now. He created this organization because, like he said, he was tired of watching organizations in name doing good work, but in reality, taking most of the donations and putting it in corporate pockets. Now, we're not trying to impugn anybody here. We're just trying to say that was an obvious thing that was happening. You see CEOs of some of these organizations getting 6- and 7-figure paychecks, and you wonder, where's that money coming from? It's coming out of donations. That's where it's coming from, right? So instead of that, they created this organization, the GGA, and decided everything that wasn't an expense would get actually put out into the field. In other words, Richard was doing all this voluntarily. And Lisa, she was doing all this voluntarily. And everybody who's worked for the GGA up until that point was not getting a paycheck, right? They were just doing it out of the goodness of their heart for the purpose of philanthropy. So that is one of the main differences. Now with the foundation, they became an official 501(c)(3), right? So now it's a foundation. And so if you're used to seeing the GGA and you're curious what is this GGAF, F stands for, and I've got to mute that mic because that mic is gonna have to turn the show off in the background. Hope that's what's going on there. Okay. So what happened is you had some people going GGA, some people go GGAF, and even people like me who are in the organization going, I don't know, is it something different? Is that part of the school? Is that part of the magazine? Is that a new branch? Right? What's going on? So we decided to have this rally to help kind of clarify the vision for everybody that's in it. Because like people like me who had been in the GGA, when we started the GGA, or when I started GGA, there was not really a clear definition of what my role as a member was, other than to continue to do the good work I was doing and to help support the organization on social media. That was kind of like the two things that I got from my orientation into it. And now we're saying, give a little bit, because as we progress as an organization, let's give a little bit more clarification if we can, cast this vision, get people excited about the work we're doing, maybe recruit some new folks, and explain our name GGAF so everybody knows what it is. That's kind of the goal of the rally today. And then, of course, our leader got beat up. That's not even the right way to say it. She got assaulted. She got 3 people with baseball bats. It's just insane. Anyways, I got to stay on topic, or I'm gonna get off on a soapbox here. So let's go. Let's see. So wow, we're gonna go with you next, brother. I gotta pull you off mute here. Here we go. Okay, and I'm gonna put you in the center. You got center stage, brother. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing on the board, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. Nice to have you all here. Sorry, I think. Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. You are live.
Okay. Okay. Nice to be here with you guys. Compliment of the season. I know the Christmas is just around the corner, so I'm wishing everyone a happy Christmas in advance.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I happen to come from. My name is Taiwo Lowe. Okay. I am the VP in charge of Africa Affairs, and I also co-found an organization called Hope Ambassadors here in Nigeria with my wife Mandy Olowu, who I think is also around. So basically, I would like to tell you a little bit more about Africa, and just in case you want to visit. Okay, so Africa is the second largest continent in the world, both in size and in population. Okay, we have about 1.2 billion people living in Africa. That is about 16% of the total world population. Okay, and Nigeria, where I come from, has the highest population. About 200 million people live in Nigeria. Okay, and Nigeria happens to be the most populous Black nation in the world. In fact, it is said that out of every 5 Black people you see, one of them is in Nigeria. Okay, so there are about 54 countries in Africa. And Africa also is home to the world's longest river. That's the River Nile, and also the largest desert in the world. Okay. Africa also has the most of the world's diamond. About 95% of the diamonds in the world comes from Africa.
Can you send
and
me
also
one?
50% of the gold. You say what?
Wow, sorry.
I said about 95%.
I said,
95% of the world's diamond.
I'm sorry.
Can I get one for you?
Yeah. I made a bad joke. I said, can you just send me one? It doesn't have to be that big.
Okay, no problem. You will get more than one. You will get more than one.
Totally kidding. Sorry.
And also, we have about 50% of the world gold. Okay. Another interesting fact is that 70% of the world's cocoa beans come from Africa. So next time you are eating chocolate,
wait a minute.
Remember Africa.
Wait a minute. He just said 95% of the diamonds, 50% of the gold.
Yeah.
Wow, remind me, how much of the cocoa?
Yeah.
How much was it, the cocoa? Anyways,
Cocoa
a
is
lot.
70%.
70% of the
Cocoa
chocolate.
70%.
So they got
Yeah.
70% of the chocolate, 50% of the gold, and 95%
No,
of the
of the
diamonds.
cocoa, not chocolate. Not chocolate. 70% of the cocoa.
All right. Well, I'm moving.
Chocolate is made from cocoa. Yeah.
I'm moving to Nigeria.
Okay.
That's what I just figured out. All right.
So you'll be welcome. Okay. So in Africa, we have about 2,000 different languages. About 2,000 different languages is spoken here. And 50% of the world's French-speaking population is in Africa. 50% of the world's French-speaking, this is in Africa. Also, we have more people speaking Portuguese in Africa, even more than in Portugal. You have more people speaking Portuguese in Africa, even more than in Portugal. Okay, so in case you want to have a trip to Africa, we have a pink lake in Senegal. So you'll be welcome to visit. So most of the world's tallest and largest animals come from Africa. We are talking about giraffe and also elephants. And most of these are in the East Africa. So when you're thinking of safari, you want to visit Kenya or Uganda, it would be a nice place to do safari. So that is all about Africa. The GGA Africa happens to do about at least almost 80% of the reported humanitarian work in GGA is from Africa.
All right. So
and 90%, 90% of this is from Nigeria.
We just have to make sure we add that F now. See, Taiwan's been in as long as I have, right? And so we're all used to saying GGA, but it's GGA.
GGA. Well, for me, it's the same thing. For me,
no, it is 100% the same. We want to clarify. We want to clarify so everybody knows we're the GGAF, just so they,
Yeah. Okay. It's a foundation now. Okay. Yeah. So, I'm saying in GGAF, about 80% of the reported humanitarian work comes from Africa. And 90% of this is from Nigeria. In fact, there is no week that goes by that there is no humanitarian activity in Nigeria.
Yeah. No,
Maybe
and this, I really
every month there is one in Ghana. Every month there is one in Ghana. Every 2 months there is one in Kenya.
Yeah.
Look,
I want to make sure. I do want to make sure that we highlight this, and we're going to go through the countries in just a minute. We're going to start with Nigeria because it's so impressive. But to everybody,
you have to take you through Nigeria. Yeah.
To everybody else, okay, to everybody watching, like the GGAF shining example of how a country is run and how a country rallies behind philanthropy efforts. For us, for our organization, it really is like Tawau just said, 80% of the humanitarian efforts that are documented. Now, we can't help it if it's not getting documented. Lisa will tell you all about KPIs.
It's documented. At least we have
internally
from our magazine. From our magazine, you can see the work we do.
Yeah, internally we talk about the KPIs all the time. That's the reports where we as leaders report to the board what's going on so they can publish it in the magazine. But of that, you can see 8 out of 10 efforts are in that area. So when I talk about
Ira, I am saying this not to boast, but to encourage other countries to copy what we are doing in Nigeria.
100%. Yeah, and that's what I was just
we need to get more people working.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is not enough. It is not just enough to bear the name humanitarian or to be an ambassador of GGAF.
Hang on.
You are not doing anything.
Time out. You're getting a little bit ahead of me, but yeah, that's the goal, right? The goal of this in part is to get people excited about what's happening there and to challenge and encourage them to step up, to accept the gauntlet that Nigeria has thrown down. We're going to get there in just a minute. Bear with me for one more minute here, Tawau. Yeah, he's excited. He's excited. And look, that's part of why they do so well, right? Because they have that enthusiasm. Now, he mentioned this just a minute ago, if you were paying attention, but we're going to bring his wife on, and we got to take her off mute. the better half. Here we go. Mandy, I think you might have to unmute yourself, but if you can follow your husband there and give us just a little bit about who you are and what you're doing on the board to help, that would be amazing. And we'll get into Nigeria in just a minute. I think it's still on mute.
You have to unmute yourself, Mandy.
Oh, there's no sound coming out. Okay. Sorry about that. Tawal, can you help us out here a little bit? Just introduce your wife and what she's doing for the organization.
Okay, yeah. Mandy is the president and co-founder of Hope Ambassador and Child Care Organization. We do a lot of humanitarian work here in Nigeria. One thing that has helped us so much is the fact that we have volunteers in several parts of the country. So that means we can work remotely. Are you on now? Are you unmuted?
Guys,
Okay, so that means we can work remotely. So we have people doing something at least once a week. Once every other week, we have some of our volunteers doing one thing or the other. Either My Body's My Body or Clean Hands Save Lives, which is a hand hygiene program. So we have that works well for us. We have working with us. We have over 50 volunteers spread all over Nigeria. Nigeria have 36 states, and we have volunteers in at least more than 50% of the states. So
say that one more time. You have 30 states in Nigeria?
We have 36 states in Nigeria.
36. Okay. And so you said you have volunteers right now in
36.
about half.
And we have volunteers in 50% of the states.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very good.
Yeah.
Look, the United States, we have 50 states. I don't know that we have them in 25 states. We probably have members, but not people actually. Members and people doing organized work is not exactly the same thing, right? So we probably have more people in total, but as you said, you guys are pulling 80% of the weight. So obviously we're not doing as much by volume.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good to get that. It's good to get that reminder, like, hey, let's do more. Again, it's not about, and Tawal's already said this, right? It's not about bragging, not at all, right? What it's really about, it's about encouraging others to step up their game, and let's get more humanitarian work done. I call it philanthropy work. It means the same thing. We're doing things to help others. That's a good thing. It's a competition that look, there are no losers. When everybody's competing to help others, everybody wins, right? That's the point. Okay. So I think we've gone through. Has anybody on stage not been introduced? I think everybody's been introduced. So I want to change this up.
Has Adigun been introduced?
Yeah, I brought Adigun up first, brother, because Nigeria rocks. You might not. Wow, you might not have heard this, but Nigeria is a pretty cool place, brother.
You need to come someday.
I need to come right now. I want some of that chocolate. You can have the diamonds and gold. Just give me the cocoa beans. There's two ways to make Ira. You want to make Ira Bowman happy: chocolate and coffee. It's
Okay, that's fine.
That's good.
That's fine. You gotta get plenty of it.
And then personally, I like my Bible reading too, but that's me personally. All right, what we want to do, I want to do this a little bit different. I'm going to share my screen. You guys might have noticed on the bottom. For a while, I think when Richard started speaking, I put this up. Learn more about the GGAF here. This is the website for globalgoodwillambassadors.org. That's the thing that can throw some people off. It's not a .com where we were an organization. Now we're a foundation. But right, so they got a .org. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. Pardon me as I share my screen while I talk here. Sometimes as a host, I get a little bit clunky, but here we go. All right. So if you come to our website, which is, again, just globalgoodwillambassadors.org, okay, then this says it all really very, very well. Changing real lives of real people worldwide. That's the main goal here. It isn't about how much money we can pay our board, because everybody here on screen right now is on the board, and they'll all tell you they're not getting paid, right? So what are we doing? We're doing this. This is what we're doing. And it isn't just us on the board. it's anybody who's a part of the GGAF to get in. Richard can speak to this better than I can. You don't just get in, right? There is a screening process that happens. First of all, you have to be nominated by somebody. Then we have a process where we interview you and we find out about what you are doing, because this is not a thing where it's a look. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do this for a second. You don't join the GGAF just because you want to add another set of letters behind your name, right? That's not what this is about. So if that's what you're looking for, you are definitely in the wrong place when you come to join our organization. We're really about this. What impact are you having in your local? So I like to say it this way. A lot of you have heard it. I didn't coin the phrase. Think globally, act locally. That's the phrase, the mantra. If I had to put one on GGAF, that's really what it is. Because Tawau, if you just heard him speak and you heard the passion in the way he was presenting, look, it's because he knows what he's doing is making a difference locally. And if he can get other people to catch his enthusiasm, he can help make an impact wherever they are. Even here where I am in Moreno Valley, which is outside of Los Angeles in what we call the Inland Empire of Greater Los Angeles, Southern California, where I am, everybody can make a difference where they are. It's the easiest place for you to make a difference. But if you add all of those individual efforts together, we can make a global impact. And that's what we're trying to do with GGAF. Now, we have an education component. We have, through My Body is My Body campaign, a way to help reduce child abuse, which, look, I was abused as a child. A lot of people were. Okay. So when you want to start talking about things that affect me personally, poverty, I was very poor. In fact, part of my childhood, I was even homeless. Okay. So when you start talking about child abuse and poverty, there are issues that can touch any one individual. But overall, the organization is not about any one particular thing. However, because child abuse is so despicable, GGAF loves the fact that we partner with Chrissy. And Chrissy, we're going to talk about your organization again in just a second. In fact, I have it up. I keep wanting to show it. Hang on a second. I'm going to put this up. We're going to talk about this in great detail in just a minute. But oops, the wrong one. Sorry, guys. This one right here, My Body is My Body. We're going to be talking about this with Chrissy, what it is and how you can be a part of this too. Because GGAF and My Body is My Body are sister organizations. Really, we would be not nearly as far along as we are now without Chrissy Sykes. All right. So we're going to talk about her organization and what it is too, because when you see GGAF stuff and you go to GGAF events, even, you're going to hear about My Body is My Body as part of that for sure. Right. Because they're helping prevent child abuse. That's part of the goal. Okay. I don't want to say that's the whole goal, but that's certainly part of it. And Chrissy will speak more to it. All right. So what is GGAF? GGAF, as I talked about, is an organization that is supporting at its core people around the world that are doing things to change the real lives of real people. It's not about fundraising. Is there some fundraising that happens? Sure. But like right now, we're actually doing a food collection campaign. That's how Lisa got in the position she was in to be assaulted last night, to be beaten by 3 assailants. She was at a grocery store in an effort to work on that. Okay. So what we do is we support those and we join hands with those that have, you can call it a philanthropy, you can call it humanitarian work, you can call it charities, but you can call it any of those things. We are working support and marginalize the needy to help reduce hunger. That's a big thing. To stand against child abuse, which is why I really love this organization, to help with orphan care and more. GGAF works worldwide to empower, protect, build resiliency and sustainability with a goal to make a global impact. Again, our goal is to make a positive impact around the world by joining hands with people who are in local markets and doing work locally, right? So our main goal, you're not going to see ever a post from Richard or Ira or Lisa or Chrissy or Dee or Adigan or Twelve. You're not going to see this post from us going, hey guys, and here's a banner. We've collected $1.2 million and we're trying to get to 2 million in 3 days. Can you give us all you got? Richard, can you say that? I have never seen a GGA/GGAF post in all my time. I've never seen a post like that, right? Has there been one? I don't think there's ever been one. That's just not what we do. We champion the work, we champion the cause, but we're not out there beating people up asking for money. We don't have fund drives like that because money is not our main goal. Our main goal is the work itself, encouraging people to do the work, reporting on the work that's been done through the magazine, and then giving people an opportunity to get educated through our learning institute, so that they can help elevate themselves, get leverage to climb or ascend, if you will, out of poverty themselves. That's what it's about. It is not about how much money can we raise and how much money can we put in our own pockets. So the organization, what makes it so unique is the fact that it's charity work that doesn't center on fund collecting, because it seems like that's what most, and again, I don't want to throw stones in anybody. Richard doesn't want to throw stones in anybody. Certainly nobody here is trying to do that. We're not trying to criticize how other people are doing. What we're saying is this is kind of what makes us different, is the fact that we have a clear vision of what we want to do. What's the clear vision? Let me just put it on the screen so everybody can see it really, really clearly. I just want to make sure everybody understands this is our vision right here. We support the marginalized. Those are people that have been forgotten. Those are people that society, like Richard talked about, in the United States, people think everybody's millionaires. We're not. You think we're all full of peace and joy and harmony. We're not. We have people running around with baseball bats beating single ladies. Well, she's not single, but she was by herself at night to steal, to rob, to mug. It's awful. Okay. Not all of it, but some of it. Right. But we support the marginalized, the needy, to reduce hunger, because people out there in 2020, look, there's more than enough food for everybody. There really is. But we don't do a great job as a world distributing the food in an equitable way. So what happens? People like the GGAF and those who are in it help to distribute food that's donated to those who are marginalized. They're hungry. We stand against child abuse. In no instance are we for any form of child abuse, whether that be physical, that be mental, that be emotional. There is no form of child abuse that is acceptable, and we stand firmly against it. We want to help with the orphans. Again, I would say those are marginalized, but those are children that have been marginalized, forgotten, left behind, right, and more. That is what we're doing. We do support economic development through our Learning Institute. If you haven't caught that, we have a Learning Institute as part of the Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation that people can get involved in to help them get an education so that they can further their financial stability. They can elevate their career path, if you will, and earn a better living. That's how if you really want to affect hunger and poverty, you have to have some form of education training mechanism to give people new skills and to give people new certifications so that they can earn more, because most of the world is going to make a living by going to work for somebody else. And to get a better job, usually you have to have a certain set of qualifications. So that's why the Learning Institute is so important, in case no one's ever pointed that out to you. So again, this has been our board. Guys, I want to thank you very much for coming. If you can't stay, we're going to start rotating in some of the leaders of our countries. We're going to start with Nigeria. So the next thing I want to do I want to encourage everybody to go onto the Global Goodwill Ambassadors.org website. I've got it scrolling across the bottom. It will be there most of the show. I am going to change it out when Chrissy comes on, and we're going to put up My Body is My Body website there so that people can visit that as well. Because again, it is our sister organization. It's really, you can't have one without the other. Well, maybe you could, but they wouldn't be as good. They're better together. So we'll say it like that. They're definitely better together. All right. But right now, what I want to do is I just want to pull up the org chart so I can make sure to give everybody their due credit before we say goodbye to everybody. So if you're curious about the GGAF and who we are, as of October 22nd, this was a snapshot of our board of directors, the way it is composed. We have Lisa Jones, who is a co-founder with Richard, but she is now current the CEO and the COO. So she's the executive officer and operations officer. She is the executive board president as well. Again, she was attacked late last night. And so that is why she's not here today. And our hearts and our prayers go out to her. Next, we have Rozzy, Senior Vice President. Rozzy was not able to join us today, unfortunately. She's just the Senior Vice President, not just, she is the Senior Vice President of our board. There is myself. I am the Vice President of Marketing and Projects. There's Tawau, who is the VP of African Affairs, as he said. And then there's Dee Russell, who again is the VP of Professional and Organizational Development. Then we have our advisory board members who are also here with us. We have the president of Child Advocacy and Welfare. And as you probably can tell, that's a very important thing to our organization. That's Chrissy Sykes. Then we have Adigan, who is the VP of Project Management and Development. And of course, our ex officio National Council, retired co-founder and chairman. None of us would be here today if it wasn't for Richard D. Padilla. So that's our board as it stands today. And if you guys didn't catch it, what Richard was saying was one of the reasons why he stepped down was he had, first of all, look, none of us can do this thing forever. But when you're creating a legacy, when you're creating an impact, one of the things that you want to see is you want to see that it carries on beyond your efforts. And so he helped work hand in hand with Lisa for years and trained her and guided her. And, you know, and Lisa adds her own skills and talents, of course. But then, you know, he made way, which is a great thing because it wasn't about just Richard D. Padilla. It's one of the things, Richard, I respect and admire about you the most, because a lot of people can't get out of their own way, right? So Richard has done a really good job handshaking over, but without Richard, of course, none of this would exist. So thank you very much, Richard, for all you have done and continue to do. Look, I don't make a post, I don't think, about the GGAF that Richard doesn't jump on and support. And I truly appreciate that. Richard supports my posts anyways because he and I are friends, but I appreciate it. Of course, he's still an active part, even though he has retired officially from the day-to-day operations here with us at GGAF. But anyways, that is the board. Let's go to Chrissy Sykes. Chrissy, we're going to spend some time now. I've been teasing this thing for a little bit. We're going to go and we're going to spend some time on My Body is My Body. And I'm going to put this link. If you are a country leader for the GGAF and you're watching this show live, I want you to go to our WhatsApp room, what we call our family leader group. Go to that. I'm going to put the link to join this stream inside that at this moment. Lisa was going to do that for us. Lisa's not here. So I'm going to do that right now. And if anybody wants to turn over, if you got to go, Dee or Richard or any of you have got to go, it's totally fine to go at this point. And then we're going to make some room and we'll bring up some of the country leaders and we'll let them talk too. Adigan, don't go anywhere, brother, because I want you to speak about Nigeria, okay? You and Tawau have got to stick with me for a little bit because Nigeria is such a critical part of what we're doing. And I want to encourage, motivate, nudge a few other people to step up their game. And I know you guys can help me with that. All right. But in the meantime, let's do this. I'm going to bring up me and Chrissy are going to talk about My Body is My Body. This is called great host work right here. When there's dead space, dead air, that's when you know you have a really good host. There we go. All right, Chrissy, I need to put you where we could see you real good. So I'm going to put you where Adigan is. There we go. And I'm actually going to lower myself one spot too. So, wow, hang on with me, buddy. I'm going to put you up at the top. There we go. All right. So now everybody can see us, I think. Okay. So, Chrissy, can you do me a favor? Can you walk us through what the My Body is My Body program is? And I've got it up. Obviously, if you want me to click on any links to go any specific place, you just kind of guide me, and I'll navigate the screen for you. But the floor is yours. Maybe just like a 2-minute summary of what it is and how you're impacting, and maybe a little bit about where people can find you, and then I'll ask you some questions from there.
Okay, thanks, Ira. Well, the program is a child abuse prevention program, and the whole idea behind it is a way to introduce the subject of child abuse prevention into communities, to help parents talk to their children, to help teachers talk to the students, because it's just a subject that most people find very difficult to initiate. And by not initiating it, we are allowing over 1 billion children a year to be abused around the world. So this program is a free program. Again, it follows the same policies of GGAF. There's no money made from this program. The only thing we ever do is ask for funding to put printing into schools. We like to leave flyers and books and that for the teachers and for the children to take home, so that their parents can see what they've been doing. So this is a brand new website, because we are a newly formed foundation. Although the My Body is My Body program is 30 years old, it's been run just as a program, but we've made it into a foundation so that we can leave it as a legacy, that we can have people join us and become more structured. So if you want to press onto the program on the website, it'll just give you an idea of what the program is, that we are there to protect children, making the world a safer place through songs and positive, empowering information for the children.
I apologize that I promised this is not her website. This is just my slow internet. Okay, guys, it'll be there in a second. This happens to me every time I go live with video. I don't have speed.
Don't worry. I'm sure people know that it's all there. If you go into languages,
yep,
people will see.
Oh wow! Look at this! Look at this, everybody. You got English, Spanish, Arabic, French, Portuguese. So what you're saying?
No. If you click on all languages, there's a load more, Ira.
Oh wow! Okay, so in full disclosure, I've never done this before. I've never clicked on all languages because I just speak English. But there we go.
Yeah. So when you go onto there, there's 26 languages that we've got the program in, and for our wonderful people in Africa, we have the program in French. We have the program in Portuguese for all the Portuguese speaking people, and we also have it in Swahili and in Xhosa, which is spoken in South Africa.
I apologize. It's not loading for me. Again, this is not your site. This is my internet. So I'm just going to back up a second, because otherwise it's white screens. Hang on a second. We'll do this.
Okay.
As soon as it comes up, I'll bring it back up. But
no problem.
But here's what's going on, right? So
So we have it in so many languages because we want the children to be taught in their native languages. And just to give you some idea, everything that has been done, we have not had a penny of money to do this. This has all been done by volunteers. The new website has been donated from a company in America called Luminary 2. And
thank you to Luminary 2 for doing it. That's I create websites too, and I know how much work there is involved in that. it's hundreds, if not thousands of hours. So
Absolutely. And
yeah,
I
so
mean,
cheers to them for doing that work.
it's all interactive, and I mean, it's all new. It's only 2 months old. Well, a month old. It started at the beginning of November. So, just but I mean, we've had a website for ages, but it wasn't like this one, where people could actually join, and we can give them all the new information and show them what we're doing. And that's the big thing, is we've got to create communities that are aware of child abuse, and this is where GGAF comes in. We have a wonderful group of really enthusiastic people. I mean, Taiwo and Adigan, just between those two people and their organizations, we have reached 200,000 kids. These are amazing people that are doing fantastic work in Nigeria. We've also got amazing people in Sudan that have reached thousands and thousands of children, and all around, in India, in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, South Africa. There's just too many places to say, but I would like to highlight Adigan and Taiwo, because they're two Wheel of Hope and Hope ambassadors have done amazing work with the My Body is My Body program. And as I say, this is what we're aiming to do, is to get community leaders to understand what's happening with child abuse, understanding what to look for, how to report, how to educate children on the basics of child abuse prevention, how to tell somebody you've got a problem. So it's very basic information, but it's very, very important information. The statistics are that child abuse costs each country between 3 and 8% of their GDP.
Now, that's a lot of money.
That is a massive amount of money.
If you understand what the gross domestic product is, the GDP, and you repeat that one more time, 3 to 8%.
3 to 8%, according to the country, yes.
You're talking about numbers that are usually in the billions of dollars, right? So if it's 3% of $1 billion, how much money is that? That's 10. I think that's $10 million, just rough, right? Or $30 million to $80 million for a lot of these countries. Think about what you could do with that extra money and the impact you could make. So by reducing what's happening out there to the kids, the effects that it has, not just when they're kids, but as it goes. Look, I'm going to speak just from personal experience here, okay? For anybody who hasn't quite figured this out. Let me lower myself just so people can see me. What happens when a child is abused doesn't usually stop there. What happens is it carries forward to them as an adult. Now, that's not where it stops either, unfortunately. My dad suffered through abuse as a child. So guess what he did? He abused me as a child, right? You get these generational impacts. Somewhere along the way, somebody has to come and stop the madness so that they can stop it, not only where we are today, but moving forward, right? This is what My Body is My Body program and other efforts. I don't want to, say it's just My Body's My Body. And certainly Chrissy is not implying that hers is the only program that you can be a part of. But this is why I'm so excited about it, Chrissy, when I heard, because honestly, until I joined the board, I was kind of like, I wasn't paying attention, right? So I didn't know. So I've been learning about your organization since I joined the board, and everything I learn about it, I get more and more excited to participate. In fact, I was talking to you in the green room before we started about maybe, helping with a video to promote it, right? Because the impact that you have is so profound, not just on today, but tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. You know what I mean? And that number that you said, I didn't know that. The GDP, which is your gross domestic product for every country, 3 to 8% of it is the impact that we're talking about. That's a huge amount. So
it's a massive impact. And the thing is, because it's on multiple layers, the children that are abused, especially if they're abused at a young age, do not learn the way that other children learn because of the trauma. So you're having the potential of those children as they grow into adults is lessened. But then there's also all the other repercussions, the mental illnesses, the physical illnesses, the relationship breakdowns, the as you said, the child abuse that carries on into the next generation. So governments really ought to take note that this is such an important subject that we could make such a difference with not even spending a lot of money. The only reason that we advocate the My Body is My Body program is because it's free. Like you say, there's other wonderful programs out there, but a lot of people charge for them, and a lot of the communities we work in don't have money to pay for programs. So this is a free program for communities to use if they've got nothing else. But we have to really just emphasize that every community should be paying attention to this and
100%.
making a difference.
100%. And I do want to emphasize this. It's a free program, meaning that you don't charge people for the services that you provide, but it still requires some money, right? Like I think you said the number one thing right now, at least what I see, is you asking for a little assistance if we can with the cost of printing.
Yeah.
So if you're watching and you've been impacted, look, and Tawau said a stat that just is mind-boggling to me, and I'm still stuck on the cocoa beans, brother. But anyways, 70% of the cocoa comes from Nigeria, which is amazing. But he said 1 in 5 people that you see that are black skin tone. I don't want to be insensitive. Look, so many people get offended the way, however you say it, and I'm a white guy, so I'm always like, I don't know what I can say without making anybody offended. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but right, if you're a black person in the world, 1 out of 5, he said, is from Nigeria. Not statistically, right? You might be in a pocket where everybody comes from Ghana, but right, statistically, everybody's from Nigeria. Okay, 1 out of 5. I would be willing to bet that the ratio is at least as high, 1 out of 5, probably higher, that 1 out of 5 people you meet were abused as a child in one of 3 ways, at least, right? Emotionally, physically, or I'll just say it, sexually. Okay, so 3 ways, right? At least.
Yeah.
1 out of 5.
Ira.
No, absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This issue alone, if we were to tackle it and make it better, is one that I am always going to be excited to participate in, because I know how big of an issue it was, not only in my personal life, but for many people when I share. And it's one of the reasons why I share openly. I'm not looking for sympathy. I've dealt with my trauma, right? So those scars are there, but the injuries have been dealt with. However, when I share about it, only because it seems so taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. And that's part of the problem in life, is if you don't address the elephants in the room, the elephants don't go away. So let's talk about it. And that's one of the reasons why I share openly. So for me, when I see charities, organizations that are out there that are willing to help tackle this problem, I get excited about participating. So there you go.
Lovely. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing about the My Body is My Body program. I apologize. I'm having some type of internet issue at the moment, which is really bad, because it's still, just to show you guys, it's still spinning white, and it has nothing to do with their website. It's all my internet. I'd love to give Spectrum Cable a shout out, because my internet is so awful all the time. There's your free plug for giving me bad internet service. There you go. All right, let's go. We're going to change directions one more time. We're going to get into the organization itself. Now, I've invited some of the country leaders to come on the show. So what I'm going to do is, after we talk about your country, if you're on the board, if you want to bow out, that'll give me some room to bring in some of the other folks. We did actually have one more person join us, but we're at limit right now. So we have Carol Hart, who has joined us as well. Carol, welcome. I don't know why it's not showing your camera at the moment.
Hello, Ira.
Yes.
Now, Mandy will be speaking for Nigeria and what we do as a team.
Yeah, so we can have you and Tewao stay for just a minute, only because what you guys do is so impressive. I want to actually ask all of you some questions, right? And then we're gonna have a brief introduction. But Carol, I can't see your video, so I'm gonna ask you to go out and come back in. I don't know if it's you or it's me, but I can't see your video on here, even though I can see you in the green room. So I'm not sure what happened, but please come back is what I'm saying. And we'll see if that works. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to share my screen one more time, and we're going to switch back over to that org chart. So we already, if you haven't watched it, go back, rewind the tape. This is our board of directors. These are the people that have been on the stage since we started the show. But now we're going to start to get into our countries and how they're structured. And we're going to start with Nigeria for two reasons. Tawal said an amazing statistic. I was not actually aware that it was that high, but I believe Tawal. He said 8 out of 10 programs that you hear about in the magazine, at least the documented works of the GGAF, are happening in Nigeria. I know that it was the majority. I didn't know that it was 80%. But I want to talk about this a little bit, how you guys have created such an amazing, I'm going to blow this up so we can see it a little bit better. Let's do like 150. No, maybe that's too much. Let's go to 100. Okay, so now we can see a little bit better. And I don't mean to cover up anybody here, but we're going to scroll. All right. So this organization that you guys are running in Nigeria for the GGAF is the shining star of our organization. And so I just want to talk about how it's comprised, how you guys got it ramped up, so that I want to encourage anyone else who's watching this, a country leader from any other place, if you're watching this, I want to encourage you to try to emulate what they have going on in Nigeria, because it is very, very, very impressive. So here we go. We have the head of the engine here, Adigan. So, brother, this is why I couldn't have you leave. I got to talk to you. So, tell us a little bit about your role, and then we'll get into what Mandy's doing and what Marina do in support, and then we'll talk about what the role of Cynthia, Rita, and Aisha are as well. So this is like you have the GGAF as an overall body, and then what we have done as an organization is we have created regions, which are done by country in our organization, and then we have country leaders that manage all the efforts inside that country. And so that's how we think globally and act locally. But a lot of what's happening locally for us right now is happening right here, because these guys are doing an amazing job. So Adigan, maybe 2 minutes, if you don't mind, just give us a rundown of how the organization is structured and what your role is. And then we're going to hand it over to Mandy and let Mandy do the same thing, talk about her role and how Nigeria as a whole goes, because we're going to let her do the main speaking. But maybe just 2 minutes, brother. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you so much, Ira, for this privilege. Actually, for Nigeria, Mandy will be doing a deep dive of what our Nigerian team is actually doing and our strategy. What I'm just going to talk briefly is my role and how we have been able to make measurable impact beyond world. Now, for me, I happen to be the third country leader that GJ is having the last 7 years. I've been on the board of GJ Nigeria for the last 5 years, 6 to 6, and a year plus now. I became the country chair for Nigeria, with the amazing support of great women in the house. I call them powerhouse women, in person of Mandy Olowu and Marina Oshoba. They are exceptional women that are not just passionate about impacting life, but they are committed and are ready to sacrifice a lot to ensure that we impact more lives. For us in Nigeria, it's not just about Global Goodwill Ambassador Foundation. It's about how many numbers of people we can make to smile or give hope to the hopeless. If you look at the organization I represent that I found, our organization is called Wheels of Hope Rising Foundation. The whole idea is on a daily basis, we want to ensure that we impact a life. If you look at the organization of Mandy and Taiwo, it's called Hope Ambassador. You can see that in the name of our individual organization, it encompasses what the vision statement of our organization is all about. Now, and the whole idea is, how can we change the narrative in making sure that we bring smile to people, we give hope to people, and we become the reason why others are actually existing. For me, as the country chair, what my role is to work alongside with the co-chairs to see that we bring out strategy in order for us to impact more life, not just to impact more life, to ensure that we encourage our team to do more than what other people are doing, because most of us that are leaders in Nigeria, most of us had a very poor and rough background that has given us the opportunity to taste what it takes not to have access to good health, not to have access to quality education, not to have access to good water, not to have access to maternal mortality or maternal health care. These are some of the things that is driving us. And Mandy will be talking more about how we are doing. And good part of it, like Taiwo said, every month, we ensure and we encourage that our team does one thing or the other to impact life. And we don't just only talk about humanitarian work. We try as much as possible to take a proactive action to see that we lead by example. Now, for us on the leadership team in the country, for me as a person, I don't just tell my team that let us make impact. We take action and we make impact individually. Mandy take action, Mandy make impact individually. Marina take action, Marina make impact individually. Taiwo, who happen to be our elder stakeholder in the group, take action and make impact individually. And with this action we are taking, we are giving a morale boost to our team to do more. What we do basically is just we walk the talk in Nigeria, and that has given our team that confidence to keep moving. And we hand it over to Marina, to Mandy. Mandy will tell us more about what we are doing in terms of our master plan, because we have a master plan that we are working with that has been guiding us on what we are expected to do per time, per month, per week, and what is the aim that we are about to achieve. Over to you, Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy, we're gonna have you speaking here. I'm gonna put you up in the top slot here, and we're gonna do this. So, Mandy, welcome. Sorry, earlier we couldn't hear you, so we had your husband try to introduce you a little bit. But tell us a little bit about what efforts you have going on in Nigeria, and of course, also let us know a little bit more about your organization as well. Maybe let's start with 2 minutes worth, and then I'll ask some follow-up questions as they happen. But we're trying to figure out how you guys are doing such a wonderful job in Nigeria so that we can emulate that in other regions of the world.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry for the other time. I had internet issues. My name is Mandy Olowu. I'm the president founder of Hope Ambassadors and Child Care Organization. This organization has been on for about 30 years now. And so we've gone through the tough, the good, and the bad times. Okay. My organization started by just, putting smiles on the faces of children, especially. And then we started going into the lives of women and trying to change their situation, because we believed if you change the life of a woman, it will impact the children and the entire family. But of recent, we had a prompting to go, and most especially during the Ebola when Ebola came in, Ebola took a lot of lives in Africa. I'm sure we know about Ebola before COVID. And just a year before then, before Ebola, where a prompting came that we should go into communities, into schools, and teach children and the entire community on the best ways to keep their hands clean. And so we went into those communities and we found out that most of these communities don't even have water. We went into schools, most of these schools didn't have water in the schools. And so when we go to teach them how to wash their hands and keep their hands clean, we had to go in with our kegs, we had to go in with our bowls, we had to go in with our detergents to teach them. And so for 1 full year, we did that. And after that, we decided to go in and bring in hand wash stations to those schools, because even after teaching, there's still no water for them to even keep their hands clean or be safe. So we decided to build hand wash stations. So we started from that. That's about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We started building hand wash stations, and right now we've delved into a higher plane where we go into communities and give them water, because again we found out that most communities, the children are not allowed to go to school because there's no water. So when children are in school, the children are outside there looking for where to get water. They travel kilometers to get water. So my organization right now, we're sinking boreholes in communities, bringing water into different communities. One of the 2 communities we had to go in this year in the north, we found out that for the community is about 200 years old, and the borehole we put there was the first borehole in 200 years. So that's some of the things that we do in our organization. And because we cannot be everywhere, our structure is to bring in volunteers all over the 36 states of Nigeria. So that was the structure we started with. We had volunteers in all the states, and even outside Nigeria, we had people that were doing the same thing, pushing, giving water to communities that didn't have water, helping children that were in need, putting smiles on the faces of children. So that same structure we brought into GGAF Nigeria, and that has helped us. So for most of our people, they have their own organizations, but they were not really seen. And so GGAF was a good platform to promote them and to help them showcase what they do. So Hope Ambassadors has a structure on ground, the structure that goes around the whole Nigeria, even outside Nigeria, to touch the lives of children, to touch the life. And using when I joined GGAF, My Body is My Body gave us a good platform, because you see, child abuse is everywhere in the world, and in Africa, because people were not speaking out, it became a big issue. So with My Body is My Body, we're able to teach these children, and then they became bolder. They were able to speak out, and it's impacting their lives and changing the narratives right now in Nigeria.
Let's pause.
You were trying to ask something, Ira.
Yeah, let's pause right there for just a second. I've got 2 questions for you, and this actually I want to throw this to Chrissy as well. So what you said in there was a lot, and I don't know, it was like your mic gets a little bit hot, so it's a little bit hard to hear in some of the cases, but I understand what you're saying perfectly. So I want to just reiterate something that you said to make sure everybody gets it, and then I want to ask you 2 questions, okay? So one of the things that you said in there is that your organization started first in the region, and you've been doing the work for, I believe you said, about 20 years. Okay. So you already had an organization, some structure for your organization on the ground in Nigeria, making a huge difference by adding that water to the schools. That is amazing. And I can't imagine having kids at school without water. This is first world problems, I guess. But, to me, seems insane that you have to deal with that. But kudos to you guys for helping to tackle that problem. Okay. But one of the things that you said in there was a lot of the people that have joined also had organizations already in place, but GGF presented a platform to help increase your visibility on a global scale. So there may be a clue there for others of you that are watching. If you're part of an organization that's doing good work, but you don't have any visibility, There is no competition between GGAF, My Body is My Body, and any of our members' organizations that they're a part of. I run a philanthropy called Project Help You Grow. There is no competition between GGAF and Project Help You Grow. I don't have to divert any funds away from Project Help You Grow to support GGAF. It doesn't work that way, right? So this is an organization that you can get a part of that helps you with that platform. So there's a way for you country leaders out there, if you're watching, to maybe help recruit. Go find people who are already doing good things and say, hey, you can join along us without diverting your effort and increase your visibility. Whoever's phone that is, can you mute your phone? That would be very helpful because it's a live show, right? All right, thank you. So I want to ask you a question about that, about recruiting, but I also want you to talk about the advantage that you mentioned, Chrissy, and My Body is My Body, giving you an opportunity to take your existing organization, your efforts, and enhance it and get you an opening into more places where you're trying to get into, auspiciously schools, because of that program. So the first question that I have for you is about recruiting. Is that a strategy? Am I right in that you're looking for, okay, what other organizations in our area are doing good things? And I incorporate and get them to incorporate their efforts into the GGAF to help, if you will, hold hands. Is that a strategy that you guys are employing, or was that inference wrong on my part?
Sorry, I didn't really get your question,
Yeah, sorry, it
Ira.
was complicated. Let me ask it very simply. Are you using the platform and how it helped you with GGAF to recruit other members of charity and humanitarian organizations? Are you talking about how it helped your organization to join GGAF to recruit and solicit volunteers of other people that are working in other organizations because there is no direct conflict of interest? Is that a part of the recruiting process to get more laborers?
No, most of the time, Ira, we post our programs on social media. Not particularly because we're part of GGAF. GGAF, yes, it's a platform that has helped, but not particularly because we're GGA. We post our programs. A lot of people see it, and then they like what we do, and they get back to us.
Okay,
That's just what happens. Yes,
so
GGA has.
So the main recruiting happens via social media.
Yes.
It's not necessarily that you're recruiting. It's just that you're letting people know the work that you're actually doing, and they're impressed by the
Yes.
work. So then okay. Well, there you go.
Yes.
I want to help other people with their recruiting efforts. So, one of the ways that I like to do things in my life is reverse engineer solutions. So it's like, okay, if I'm trying to recruit in this area and I can figure out how somebody else has done it successfully, then maybe I can reverse engineer it. So I'm just trying to give other countries.
But that's not to say that there are some areas that we really need people, so we'll outsource them.
Yeah.
There are some areas we need people, so we just find those kind of people and then we bring them into our organization.
Let me
but
ask
basically,
you this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question, okay? Has there ever been a time when you're running your organization that being a part of the GGAF held you back? Has it ever taken away resources from your organization to be a part of the GGAF?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's something I think that all of us could make sure when we're talking to people who are a part of another organization, like, hey, just so you know, because that's been true for me too with Project Help You Grow. There's never been a conflict of interest. There's never been competing resources where I had to decide this resource is going to go here or this resource is going to go there. They work together in unison. So I just want to see if other people have that same experience. It sounds like you do.
No, what we actually do as GGAF Nigeria, we all come together. We have a calendar of events. Like now, we're going to have another one in January. We're going to sit down. The leaders of GGA Nigeria we would sit down and draw out a program. So we have a calendar of events for the entire year, and that's what we work with. So we just come together, and if need be to put our resources together, but it's not, GGAF is not taking from us as against our own organization. So it's something we want to do. We write down our programs for the year, and then we run with those programs. You know, we know the issues that concerns us in Nigeria. We know where the shoe is paining in Nigeria. We know the things happening in Nigeria. So we sit down and we come, okay, this community needs this community needs that, this group of children need this. And we come together and we bring in our talents, our resources, everything together. And then we go as a team. So it has nothing to do, we're not forcing anybody, but we understand ourselves and we run with it.
Yeah, I totally get it, right? So you have a calendar, you're basing the calendar based on the needs of the people on the ground, and then you guys work in unison. How is it that and we lost Chrissy because she had another commitment, she had to leave. But for My Body is My Body, you had mentioned earlier that having that tool in your toolkit allows you access into new places. Can you just explain that a little bit so other people who are watching might also take advantage of the same opportunities? I hadn't thought about presenting My Body is My Body as an opportunity to get into a venue like a school or whatever. Can you just talk about how that works and how that helps a little bit?
Okay, the My Body is My Body program, because of the way it is, it's an animated program. It's it's a song, you know. It's a song. It's musical. So the children kind of hold on to that more than you going into a school and just talking. You understand? So it makes it easier for the children. It's easier for them to remember. So that helped us, because yes, all this while we've known that there's a great abuse. The process of going into those schools and getting them to speak out was difficult. So, but with the songs, it was like a fun thing for them. And then they know what to do and they remember what to do. They remember what to do. That is very important for us. So they remember what to do. And so because it's a song, they are able to put it into their system, and they use it. They use it whenever there's an issue. Before My Body is My Body, we had, for example, in Lagos State. Lagos State has a song similar to what My Body is My Body is. So for us in Lagos State, it's difficult to carry out that program in Lagos State because we have a similar song which the government has put it into the curriculum of the school, and so they've been able to teach that to the children. But outside of Lagos State is the largest. It's the largest, but it's not the capital of Nigeria, but it's the largest state. But coming in and teaching them My Body is My Body kind of contradicts, or it's the same. It's almost the same thing, but a different sound. So, but for all the other states outside of Lagos, it's easier to teach My Body is My Body. So for us, My Body is My Body made the children to be bolder. They'll be able to remember, because it's musical. Children are prone to remember that more than you coming to just teach theory and tell them to report, because they won't even know who to report to.
Music is a great tool to help with memorization, for sure, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people can memorize songs. I can't remember so many things as I'm starting to get older. Richard, don't laugh. I'm starting to get a little older. So, it's like, I call them brain, the nice way to say it is brain freezes. I actually have another term that starts with an F, but I'm not going to say now that, it's a bodily function. Anyways, sometimes I go into a room and I forget why I went into the room, but I can remember the lyrics of songs from the 70s and 80s when I was a kid. It's amazing how the memory works when there is some music associated with it. So I totally get it. And maybe too, you had mentioned the Lagos and the national song, but in some of the other state song, some of the other states with rivalries and the way that works, maybe they don't want to learn that song because they're not from that area, right? They're from a different area. So having this other song and tool from My Body Is My Body gives you, like you're saying, that extra material to help emphasize what you're trying to teach. I love it. Adigan, I want to go to you, brother, because you had mentioned in our stage chat that you had a couple extra points that you wanted to make. So by all means, brother, the floor is yours. And Mandy, thank you so much for all that you shared. That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Ira. Thank you so much, Mandy,
Thank
for that entry. Ira, when you look at the model that Nigeria actually run, like Mandy shared, on our platform, we have over 170 GGAF members on our platform. And out of all these 172 GGA members that we have on the platform, half of that number has their own NGOs, non-governmental organizations that they are running themselves. And out of that 50%, we still have a lot of people that have the CSOs that are volunteering for one organization or the other to make impact. What we do as a team in Nigeria is to consolidate these resources that we have. Now, most of them are not making proactive action, but what we have done as an organization in Nigeria is to ensure that we make it mandatory for our members to take bold action to make impact. That's one.
Hang on 1 second. Can I just make sure I got this right? Did you say 50% of the folks involved in the GGAF in Nigeria also run their own NGO? I just want to make sure I got that clear.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, okay. Yes.
So there again, if you're a country leader watching this and you're trying to figure out how to increase your recruitment efforts to get your organization built up the way they have in Nigeria, these are clues, success clues. Whenever you find somebody who's successful at something that you're trying to emulate, look at what they did to become successful. And if you can emulate it, then you'll probably find similar type of success. So look for people who are running NGOs and recruit them with the emphasis on what I said earlier. Remember, we asked Mandy specifically, has there ever been a point where the GGAF conflicted directly in resources or philosophies or whatever with what you're doing already? And the answer was no. I find that to be true as well with my nonprofit, Project Help You Grow, where I'm helping people find jobs. And NGOs, those folks have a heart to help. That's why they run NGOs, right? So there you go.
Now, and second thing that we have done differently that makes us to make a huge impact in the country is we emphasize more on collaboration and partnership.
Yeah.
Now, for me as a co-founder and the president of We Support Rising Foundation, in 2018, Hope Ambassador partnered with my organization for our healthcare project, together with La Roche Leadership. I still remember very well that La Roche Leadership, led by Marina Oshoba, was the one that gave us the mosquito net that we use for that outreach. Now, where am I driving to is we embrace and we encourage partnership for greater impact among ourselves. And we leverage on each other's strength and capacity, which is the third point that we have leveraged on to make us different. And we don't see ourselves as competitors. I don't see Hope Ambassador as competitor to my organization. I don't see any other person as competitor, but we see ourselves as partner in making a larger impact. Now, the third part, the last part I want to add, in terms of My Body Is My Body program that we have been able, virtually every week or 2 weeks interval, there must be a child prevention program in Nigeria. It's a must. Check the trend. And that has actually helped us to have impacted over 250 lives, more than that altogether. For my organization, we have done more than 50 to 100 children. For Hope Ambassador, they have done higher than us because they have a larger coverage. And what we have also done is we leverage on each of our members' network to increase the impact that we are making. And one thing that is about GGA Nigeria is we are not a noisemaker organization. We are not a noisemaker team. We challenge ourselves. We provoke ourselves to ensure that we make measurable impact. Don't just come and tell me that you have done this. We want to see the physical impact of what we are doing. And the last thing that we add up is, at every time we are adding new members to Nigerian network, we always try as far as possible to do verification of what they stand for. Because we have gotten a lot of GGA members that are not doing anything in their community. We don't want to have anybody in our team that does not have the art, passion, sacrifice to impact, to put smile on other faces. And that's what has helped us to stand out in Nigeria, because people that we are having, we have people that have passion, they are committed, and they are ready to do more than just speaking about it. And we are so happy that we are blessed with the best team in GGAF. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for the updates. We're going to switch now. We've been talking about Nigeria for a long time. And the reason why we're focusing on Nigeria is because they do such a great job. Such a great job, as Tawal talked about earlier. 80% of the efforts that are documented in our magazine. If you guys are not familiar with this, we have a magazine. It's called The Ambassador. It goes out once a month. It's on our website. So if you go to Global Goodwill Ambassadors.org, on the tab, you'll see the magazine. Click on that and you can find out more. Each and every month, you can keep up with the amazing efforts that are happening in Nigeria and around the world. I want to switch over to the UK. We had Carol Hart on for a minute. She had to go, unfortunately, but she brought on to the stage with us James Cullen. I'm going to bring up real quick the org chart and show Carol Hart is what we call a country leader. And every area or region has a leadership structure. Carol Hart is one of the two country leaders with Gemma Smith. And then we have Dee Russell, who's on with us, James Cullen, who's on. So we're going to let them speak now. James, I'm going to start with you because Carol was going to speak and give a 2-minute presentation on what's going on in the UK. So if you can kind of give us a couple minutes about what is happening there in the UK, we really appreciate it. And then Dee, if you can hang on for just a couple more minutes, we'll have you talk in just a second.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes, sir. Thank you for joining.
Well, very good. I work very closely with Carol Hart, and between us we make a very good team in the sense that she is very much involved at the top end of the organisation, where I'm much of a doer, and I just get on with stuff, to be honest. My background is very clear. I was an entrepreneur for most of my life. I'm 80 now. I retired 20 years ago, having sold 4 or 5 of my businesses. I still have 2, and I also work for several other sorts of organisations, not least of which is Care Quality Ecosystems, operating out of Skytech in Daresbury, which is funded by the government and has to be match funded by somebody in commerce, which is me. I match fund research and development into finding solutions to abuse in care homes. And that's been a 5-year pilot. And there have been outcomes from that which are now being rolled out into care homes in the UK. I'm talking now with Carol about the issues of global abuse. It's been an escalation, and it's a growing problem, and it is global. For instance, a few minutes ago, I typed in, while I was waiting, into Google search, care home abuse, and it reported, surprisingly, thousands, no, not thousands, not even millions. It reported 2 billion incidents of care home abuse. Now, that's only those that are registered for social care. And there is a massive amount of people who aren't. and they too are suffering abuse in one form and another. And I heard you mention it earlier that abuse comes in several different forms, and that's what we are showcasing on what we've built, which is a website that presents the work that we do. It explains how we do it, and it offers 2 or 3 different angles on how to make a difference, how to actually recognize why the elders in our midst, and I include myself in this, can look back and advise and share what they know without any return, of course, without any reward, just simply to help other people get on with the job. So we've also been communicating with the leaders of several multi-million membership organizations across the world who focus on issues of the third age. And they are exchanging work with us and sharing their resources, which we are now just harnessing to cascade into our own platform, and vice versa. They're taking some of our initiatives and innovations to use appropriately in their own websites and the way they work. So we collaborate with any agency whose focus is compatible with our own aims and objectives. And as I say, we actually have been approached from all over the world several times now to share what we do on the WISE Journal, which is one of our focuses, and the Learning Centre, which is also on our website, which is, for anybody that's interested, and they should be, is worldelders.org. One word, all lowercase, and it's easy to access. It's a very quick hit. But of course, that actually is the showcase for WISE, and that stands for World Institute of Society's Elders. And that's what we're trying to homogenize now. All those world groups are doing such good jobs, and get them under the same umbrella. So I think that just about tells you where Carol Hart and myself are. But of course, it's a pity she didn't talk to you, because what we do believe that prevention is better than cure, and her belief that education is key to that outcome is a primary goal for both of us.
I agree 100% with that. Let me just make sure that I highlight that point so anybody watching it can understand. Education can do a lot to change not only today but forever, generationally. And here's how. When you're talking about abuse, with My Body is My Body, and educating the children that it's wrong, because they don't necessarily know that what's happening to them is wrong. They also might not necessarily know what options are available to them to report it and to get out of the situation. So there's ways to change what's happening right now. But also education helps to lift people up out of poverty, because not all abuse happens because somebody's angry or somebody's a deviant. Sometimes things happen bad just because their situation, they don't earn enough or have enough money or resources. Education can teach people where to go to get resources. It also can allow people to get what is required to earn more in the form of certifications, a diploma, a degree, whatever that is. So education, to me, is foundational in any effort of humanitarianism. You want to call it charity, you want to call it philanthropy. Look at my own philanthropy, Project Help You Grow. 90% of what I do is from an educational basis. Why? Because foundationally, I understand that if you don't have a firm knowledge base, it's really hard to make the word that you used, and I think everybody loves this word, impact. To have an impact of any substance, there has to be at least a component, in my opinion, of education. So bravo to you and what you guys are doing. I love the fact that you guys are so involved, not only in your area, but also with us from an organizational standpoint. And my hat's off to you, Carol, Again, it is a shame that I didn't get to ask you questions live because I was looking forward to that. But I celebrate everybody that is not only on the board doing yeoman's work to help make sure that the organization moving forward casts a really good vision of what we're trying to do, encourages people to do the work, and then has a way to educate via the Learning Institute and to inform via the magazine what it is that's happening. And then with My Body is My Body, of course, we're walking hand in hand, giving people an education or information that they can use to get inside schools, because the program has materials that you can take that's showcased so brilliantly on her website. But there's printed materials that people can take, there's songs, and there's choreography that goes with it. It's a wonderful program. Anyways, thank you very much, James, for coming on. You're welcome to stay as long as you'd like. I actually put this in the footer at the bottom. We have introduced, I believe, everybody that's on stage. I've invited other country leaders in our WhatsApp group to join us, but nobody has taken me up on that. It could be timing. It could be technical difficulties. For whatever reason, they're not here. So we are at that point where we're going to start to wrap this up. Okay. But what I want to do is invite you, if you have a question about the organization itself or to anybody that spoke. You want to talk to our founder, the person who started all this, Richard D. Padilla. He's on stage with us. He's been with us the whole time. Thank you so much, Richard, for sticking with us. We've got Tawau and Adigan from Nigeria, which is our top performing region for two reasons. A, they've recruited better, and B, I think that what they're doing by collaborating, and Adigan said it, right? They have a spirit of cooperation that I think is unique inside their sister organizations for that country. The 36 states have bonded together really well. Tawau said they have over 50% of the states are represented in the organization with volunteers. I think that is validation that there's a spirit of cooperation. It's not just one region or one group making it all up. People have come together from the whole country, which is really cool. And then the UK, as James just talked about, with efforts from Carol helping in the organization, Chrissy, the magazine, Richard, Lisa's not here, but Lisa and Chrissy put that magazine together month in and month out. They spend countless hours getting that thing done, pulling the reports. We call them internally our KPIs. Everybody loves them, but there's KPIs that get done, and we report what's happening, and then they get pictures and put it in the magazine. But we do that. Why? We do all this because we're trying to educate, we're trying to inform, we're trying to encourage others to join hands with us. And for those who can't join hands with their physical efforts, maybe they do want to donate. Because like I said, My Body is My Body. There's programs out there. Mandy told me something that it's kind of mind-boggling to me. Again, I grew up in the United States, so a different area with different resources, but even being really poor, and like I said, my poverty includes part of my childhood not having a place to live, sleeping on the street. I have slept on the streets overnight before, and it's a scary thing to do, by the way. Okay. But that's part of my past. And every time I went to school, every single one of them, no matter how affluent or not the neighborhood was, we had running water at every single school. All right. I can't imagine a situation where
If I can just chip in something.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not only the school. It's not only the school not having water. The whole community in some cases don't have water at all.
Yeah.
That's why we have taken it a step further. We are not only stopping at putting water in the school, we are putting water in the communities.
Yeah. And
that's what we are doing. That's the step we are now.
Can you watching, and we don't have the same volume of people watching now that we had earlier, but we still have a good showing here. Can you imagine, just put yourself in your mind in one of these communities and go, what would my life be like if I didn't have running water? Because let me tell you something, running water really is one of the foundational pieces that's required for life. You have to have running water. You have to have it, right? Talking about sanity, but also talking about the human body is over 75% comprised of water. You have to have it to survive. You can survive without food for almost 30 days, but you can't go 3 days without water. You'll die. Water is life. Water is life, right? What are they doing? It's not the only thing they're doing, but one of the things that they're doing is they're bringing real life to communities and having the impact. Imagine the impact that has, right? If you want to teach kids about how to be sanitary, without water, it's really hard to be sanitary. How can you, like, germs spread without soap and water? You got to use it. But they can't teach kids how to wash their hands if they don't have water. And then the kids can't apply what they learn if there's no water at home or water in the school. So some of these programs that Mandy talked about, again, just for me, again, I know life, we think about the things that affect us directly, and we don't necessarily think about, places in the world where there's no running water. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing they're doing, and that's not the only thing the GGAF is supporting, but that's a part of what the GGAF is supporting. And that makes me extremely proud to be a part of this organization. So if you're out there watching, you have a question for Richard, for Adigan, for Tawal, for James, what they're doing in the UK, both from a leadership standpoint in our organization and on the ground, what I call boots on the ground. James said he's a doer. I appreciate that, James, because I am too, right? I'm one of those guys who likes to just get stuff done. So, and I happen to be an entrepreneur too, a little bit younger than you. I'm not 80 yet. I'll get there hopefully one day, right? And you all have all your hair. I should be asking you how you did that, right? Like, how did you keep your hair at 80?
Super glue.
Super glue. I love it. All right. So if you have a question for us, please put them in the comments, and I'll be happy to address the panel with questions. I want to share one more time before we go. This is the Global Goodwill Ambassadors website. And on here, if you want to donate, again, we don't spend a lot of effort, Richard. Like I said, I don't remember ever having a post where we said, hey, can you donate to the cause, right? We don't do that. But if you do want to donate, you can. And like Richard said, everything outside of what we are charged by the banks to receive that donation, we put right back out into the field. There is no overhead that's taken out. It's just the cost of getting the money. That's the only thing that's subtracted. And we really can't do anything about that because the banks, whether you use Venmo or PayPal or wire transfer or Wise or whatever system you're using to send money, they all charge money for us to get it. That is his reality, right? But
let me just add something. Ira, let me add something.
Yeah, go ahead.
For GGAF, the model we run is $1 to one beneficiary. Now, what that means is at every single dollar donated to GGAF is going directly to the beneficiary. Yeah. Now, that means at every time that you donated, okay, for example, we just concluded, we are running a program in GGAF now. That's the End Hunger Project and Child Abuse Prevention Program that we are running now, which is the Founders Award initiative that we are pulling together. At every $50 donated to the organization, it's a mandatory that $50 is going directly to feed minimum of almost 20 people. Imagine what your $50 will do, putting food in the table of 20 good people at a time. It's so huge. And we are always we always lead by example. For us as leaders in GGAF, we don't just tell you about donating to us. We don't just tell you about supporting our cause. We lead the cause. We champion the cause. We put our resources on it to ensure that we make an impact. Thank you.
100%. Look, you won't hear us talk about donations very much at all. That's not, we like I said, in all my years of being a part of the GGA, now that what we call the GGAF, because we're a foundation, I don't remember ever having one single fundraising campaign. Now, there might have been some that I just wasn't aware of, but I don't remember ever being a part of it or being asked to donate, right, of money. I donate time, and I'm asked to report on what good things I'm doing, but that's different. Now, the other things that you can do on here, you can learn more about country leaders. You can learn more about us, the board of directors. You can I recommend all of you not only go to and read the Ambassador, which is our e-magazine, but you can sign up and we'll email it to you. There's an email list if you like. You can sign up. And then there's more things here that you can do. You can learn about how to join us, which we would love to have you join us. You can find out more about our Learning Institute. Again, as James and I talked about, Chrissy and I talked about, several of us talked about this need for education and the impact that education can have to change in a positive way the world as a whole on just about anything that you can think of, right? So this is our Learning Institute. There are resources here, Youth Ambassador Program. Anyways, more and more and more stuff that you can, featured authors, our blog. You can check this out. It's all free. You don't have to ever donate anything. No, we will not spam you if you go on our site or sign up for our magazine, although we will send you the magazine, of course, if you sign up for that list. So I just encourage you to check out the website. Here is the website one more time in case you've forgotten. It's globalgoodwillambassadors.org. Again, my name is Ira Bowman. It has been an absolute pleasure to host this World Rally. What was the point? Let me tell you what the point was. We were trying to introduce who we are. For those of you who have never heard of Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation before, we're trying to let people know that when you see GGAF, if you're wondering, is that the old GGA? Yes, one in the same organization. We were trying to introduce our board of directors, which is led by now Lisa Jones, who unfortunately couldn't be here because she was assaulted last night. I encourage you to go to Richard DiPadilla's post right now and share that post so that we can spread the word about what's happened and maybe make a positive impact and reduce the odds of that happening again in the future. It is, again, Lisa, we're all thinking and praying for you. The goal was to encourage those country leaders who are watching to understand what it is that makes Nigeria so special with the way that they have formulated and conducted themselves at a country level. Their leadership team really is spectacular. So we're trying to highlight that. We wanted to introduce anybody who has not heard of My Body is My Body, led by, of course, Chrissy Sykes, who helps in multiple ways with the GGAF. We wouldn't be the same organization we are today without her. Of course, we wanted to introduce anybody. I don't know if you haven't heard of Richard DiPadilla, you probably live under a rock somewhere. But if you hadn't heard of him and understand how the Global Goodwill Ambassadors was founded in the first place, he is our founder. It was his idea. He brought it to life. He helped train Lisa Jones, who now is our current CEO. So Richard was given an opportunity to share that part of the story. And then, of course, me, who am I? I'm the newest member of the board, everybody. I joined the board a few months ago as the VP for marketing, because if you don't know who I am, I run a marketing business, and it is my background. And I have been so thankful to be a part of the Global Goodwill Ambassador Foundation for quite a few years now. But I, too, if you're watching this as a member and you've never really fully leaned in or participated with us in this organization, I want to encourage you to do so, because I was like that for years. It was, to me, it was just a thing that I could say, oh yeah, I'm a part of this, right? But I wasn't really doing anything to help. And now I feel very bad about that, because as I have increased my participation, I found out these guys are amazing. These ladies are amazing. They're doing amazing things. They're making an impact really on issues that touch my heart, that are part of my past: poverty, child abuse, sexual abuse. These are things that affect and are part of Ira's story. So as Ira has become successful, I want to help alleviate and rid the world of some of these ugly things. No, look, there was a program called No Child Left Behind. Now, I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just trying to say that sentence, that sentiment, that is an important thing. If you can identify and resonate with that statement, not the political part of it, I don't want to get political, but no child left behind. You want to embrace the GGAF because that is a big part of what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people that have been marginalized. We're trying to eliminate or significantly reduce child abuse. We're trying to make sure nobody goes hungry. And we try to do it on a global scale. That's why it's called global, right? And the way we do it is by thinking globally and working locally through the local leadership channels. In our organization, we call them now, it is a shift, but they're called country leaders. So we call them country leaders. They organize and mobilize the efforts in their region, in their countries, mostly like Nigeria. And so that was the point of the rally, to educate, build some excitement, and encourage people to step up where you are, participate locally, and help us on a global scale. That was the goal. I hope we did a good job with it. Again, thank you for watching. Taiwao, James, Richard, Adigan, Chrissy, Carol, Mandy. Am I forgetting somebody? I might be. I'm sorry. Everybody who joined today, thank you for participating. Thank you for watching. And look out for one of these again. We'll probably do this twice a year is going to be the idea. So they'll be a little bit shorter next time. But thank you for joining, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you on social media right now. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.
BowmanDigitalMedia.com